A to the K.
to the K.
To the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A to the K Wrestling Show and another edition of the Ringside Report.
Yes.
Start spreading the news, but we're not leaving today.
Oh.
Because coming up tonight on the ring, WWE planning several surprises for WrestleMania.
Yes, they are. CM Punk has buried AEW, kind of, again.
Again. Triple H has approved a new WWE World title.
What? Well, we have an update on the health of Cora Jade.
AEW's new third TV show premiere date revealed.
Yay. Vince McMahon pays WWE $17.4 million.
17.4 million.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
NXT's Arianna Grace set to compete for Miss Universe Canada.
Final WWE Hall of Fame list confirmed. Just 4 names inducted this year, Carl.
Well, 5th actually, as of today, but we'll break that news for you.
Wow.
That's how breaking we are.
That's how good my numbers are.
Even WWE Creative left in the dark about the status of Bray Wyatt.
Yes, they are. Dustin Rhodes is actually training Steven Seagal's daughter.
The hell?
Which I was quite surprised to find out he had a daughter. I don't know why. He obviously does, but and you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's a thing.
Fun and educational. Logan Paul announces his WWE contract is set to expire right after WrestleMania. Flash in the pan.
Interesting. So, potential WWE buyers reportedly want a McMahon, Carl, but they want Stephanie McMahon.
The name on the contract does say McMahon.
I think the news article does actually do that.
Oh, okay. When's all this coming up?
It's all coming up right friggin' now.
Yes, it is. We'll kick off with the first one, shall we? WrestleMania is upon us. We're firmly on the road. We've come off the little,
the off ramp.
The off ramp.
The roadblock. Was it? Did they call it the roadblock?
Yeah, they did have that for a bit.
Yeah.
But yes, we are mere days away, Anthony, and WWE are planning several surprises for our enjoyment by all accounts. So, as you can tell from the graphic here, people who are planned to be in attendance at the show include Undertaker.
Good.
And Michelle McCool, by the way.
Good.
Kane is being brought in.
Nah, I like Kane. Like, obviously, people have their opinions on Glenn Jacobs. I like Kane.
Character.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss is apparently going to be in attendance.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Whether that means we're going to see her on screen.
Yeah, turns out she's been through quite a lot, and typical fandom.
Not enough for us to make it newsworthy enough to talk about it, but yeah, fair play. So hopefully, all the best to her. Other names include Jimmy Hart, Tori Wilson's going to be there, Sergeant Slaughter, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, right.
I'm glad I didn't say that after Tori Wilson, because that would have been really bad. And we love Tori, so we're not going to say
Miss Wilson. Yeah.
Miss Wilson, indeed. But yeah, so several names coming in. Do you think we are going to get to see some surprises then for the show? Why would they bring all them in if they're not going to be used?
So they can all just clap. Okay. Clap for Vince. I have no idea. But I'm excited. It's going Hollywood. Any number of things could happen. I'm sure they've got some surprises lined up. We all remember the surprises we got last year.
Yeah.
A little bit of a nightmare last year.
Yeah. Wasn't that surprising to some?
It was surprising to me, damn it.
But nonetheless, interesting that they said Jimmy Hart's going to make the trip. They haven't mentioned Hulk Hogan. I'd imagine if Jimmy Hart is going, then you would see Hulk.
I mean, we all know Hulk can't walk anymore, or whatever the news article was a while ago.
He was able to stand there on the stage, wasn't he?
I was just referring back to when they said he's like nearly paralysed or something.
Well, yeah, his media team came out and was like, no,
he's not.
He's fine.
He's perfectly fine, aren't you, Hulk?
Weekend of Hogan's. Weekend of Hogan's.
Yeah, I feel like another lawsuit's happening.
Yes, a little bit. So, yeah. Do you want to be recorded having sex on camera? Anyway, slight digression. But I'm excited. I mean, it's not Royal Rumble, worthy level of excitement when it comes to surprises, but it sounds like we might get to see something pretty cool. And you know what? We're not getting The Rock. We haven't heard about getting Stone Cold.
See,
but we're in Hollywood, damn it.
There's a time and a place to talk about this, but I will briefly say a lot of people are expecting The Rock, and I think, look, if you're one of those people, just manage your expectations. And I only say that from like a point of me and Carl were expecting him at the Rumble, and it kind of it was a great Rumble, and we were kind of like, oh, because he weren't there. So just manage your expectations, man. I don't think he's going to be there, and I don't think we should expect him to be there, because then if he is, it's cool. But if he's not, then we're not going to be sat there going, oh.
True that.
You know what I'm saying?
So don't get duped. Just be surprised with whatever happens.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat, baby. Again, Weekend of Hogan's. So, next on the list, Anthony.
Next on the list, Carl. CM Punk went on another little Twitter story rant and then deleted it. Honestly, I think he might need stories taken off him. I don't know. I kid, of course. We're not going to limit his ability to rant. It's gold. So this is apparently in relation to the match he had with Mox, or matches he had with Mox, and in reference to the fact that it was Moxley's idea, allegedly, and they wanted to mirror Rocky 3, in which Rocky got battered and then made a comeback. As most, to be honest, it's Rocky in general. That seems to be how it works. So he put a story out, and I'm going to have to read this, so apologies for people looking at the top of my head for the next couple of seconds. He's put, sigh, I wasn't cleared to come back to wrestle yet. Then, plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie. The fuck, Punk? And I thought the idea sucked. But if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I never experienced somebody refusing to lose to me. It's like the Diaries of Punk, isn't it? I just laughed and asked Tony Khan, I don't know why specifically Khan, there you go, if this is what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss. So I said, okay, but I need to be cleared first. He said, you want to be a star, don't you? Sorry. So they kept saying it could just
I'm
be
half expecting it to go into like that thing from fucking Prince Harry's book, and and then we had sex in the bush.
Yeah. Put cream on his todger. So they kept saying it could be just a squash. A squash? Fucking hell. Right. It could be just a squanch. So I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important, I bellowed. That bit's not true. Dave Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change. But I never put a company above my health ever again, Punk concluded, furrowing his brow in a menacing way.
Indeed. Before drinking a cold glass of Pepsi.
And eating muffins.
From Wendy's Bakery.
So he ended up removing this rant, and a lot of people are like, okay, so he's not coming back to AEW. But then he's also kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, beefs can be squashed and he's willing to work with the company again. So he really, I mean, he's kind of all over the place at the minute. So if you're trying to predict what his next move is on his social medias, probably not the best shout. Yeah. In slight connection to this, Moxley kind of remained relatively quiet on this, but when he's been interviewed, I think recently with his wife, bit of unbiased journalism.
I mean, we saw how that went for Will Smith.
He sort of vaguely referenced it, but didn't sort of go into detail. I think he's made it fairly plain that, you know, elements of that aren't necessarily true, and that Punk might not be the easiest to work with, but he didn't go all in with his opinion on it. So if you want to hear Moxley's side of it, kind of, you can listen to the sessions, no longer the oral sessions, because I think she finally realised that might mean something else. So is Punk coming back to AEW?
At this point, knows. Who the fuck knows?
I don't even think Punk knows.
Yeah. Speaking of things we don't know about, so the latest news from WrestleVote, who's typically pretty accurate, to be fair to him. He had an interview with Give Me Sport.
It's not like a t-shirt they should make, typically accurate.
Typically accurate, and in like small text, at least 50% of the time. He had an interview with Give Me Sport where he revealed there's a new belt. Yay! I don't know for sure if it's getting a new name. I don't know if one of the titles is going away, but there is a new belt that WWE has made and decision makers have approved. If they wanted to introduce it on TV tomorrow, they could. Those boxes are checked. Now, obviously, for the clickbaity graphic here, I don't believe it's going to be a new Cody Rhodes belt. It is. So I believe this is a fan-made title where they've taken the old winged eagle.
I kind of like it.
I know it's pretty sick, right? But I don't think it's going to be this. But it seems like there are going to be plans to introduce a new belt. For me, I can't see them putting anything out there that doesn't have a giant WWE logo on it.
Can I just say, I think it'd ruin the point if they just make a new belt. The point with Cody should be that they bring back the belt his dad never won.
Well, that's true. I don't even that wasn't even the winged eagle, though. I don't think, you know.
It was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the earlier one.
Yeah, but
still, That should be the belt they bring back for Cody. They shouldn't just make a whole new one. That kind of defeats the point.
I suppose, but it would be so much better if it looked good.
Well, look, imagine though, right? Scenario where he's like, I finally won the title my dad never won. The story's complete. And then he spins the little skull logo. It's like, it just doesn't have the same gravitas to it, does it?
I mean, yeah, it's a very good point. But, yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the title's going to be, but it seems like the plan is going to be to split them titles up eventually. And when they do that, there'll be a new design in the works. But, yeah, it would surprise me if it's not some form of a giant WWE logo, unless they are going to go all in on bringing back the Winged Eagle or something for Cody. Something that, you know, I don't know, is a bit more historically accurate for what his dad never won kind of thing, but not the actual one, because
it's going to be the WWE normal title, but the leather strap's going to have polka dots on it.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll take it.
Which is still kind of cool.
So yeah, new title belt has been made, is ready to go. When we will see it, we do not know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Carl, kind of a brief one here. Uncle Dave has recently been talking about Cora Jade. For those of you who don't know who Cora Jade is, she started with NXT back in 2021 and has sort of skyrocketed to being one of the main female wrestlers. Personally, I hadn't seen a great deal of it. I feel like it kind of happened awfully quick. And it seemed like, you know, she was set, you know, she's going to be a star there. She's going to hit the main roster pretty quick. And then suddenly we just didn't really see a lot of it. So apparently, having been last seen in January, Dave has a bit of an update to give us. Which I do say a bit because there's not a lot of info here. He's reported that she's been out with an undisclosed injury.
Okay.
So like, cool, right.
The funny thing is though, that is the crux of it, isn't it? Like, that, you know, when Dave talks about it, it takes about half an hour. It's like, you know, but you know, plans change, and with Cora Jade, and it goes on for half an hour. But
she's out with an injury, but he's not sure what injury it is.
Yeah, she may or may not be out with an injury of some kind.
Yeah. Cool, thanks. So, in case you're wondering why you haven't seen Cora Jade lately, it's because she's not on TV. There you go.
Basically, is the scoop.
But you know what? If she is out with an injury, hopefully speedy recovery, hopefully back on track. Because I always hate it when wrestlers have to go off for an amount of time for whatever reason, and it kind of stops the momentum because creative just don't have anything for them at that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hope she goes back with the same sort of trajectory that they gave her. You know?
Agreed. So yeah, speedy recovery if you are in fact injured. So the next one brings a little bit of an update again from Uncle Dave. So let's take it with a big heap of salt here. This one does make a little bit of sense though. So he has reported that the new AEW TV show, the third wrestling TV show this is, not the reality show that's coming out soon. So the third wrestling show is potentially coming out in July. So the thinking behind this is AEW recently had a Rampage event that was meant to be on the 14th of July, and basically they got rid of it and instead replaced it with a TV event on the Saturday, July the 8th, from Regina, Saskatchewan, in Canada somewhere. And
wait. Saskatchewan?
That's the one. Saskatchewan, not Saskatchewan, because that's not a place that exists.
What you doing?
So
Saskatchewan.
Shut your face.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. As a Canadian, watching this, getting really furious with the pair of us right now.
Sorry about that. So Meltzer wrote, the schedule in June hasn't been announced yet other than the Canadian shows. So we don't know if this is the first Saturday taping or the Saturday show will begin before this date. But the Saturday show is right now planned, and unless something major changes, it'll be debuting at least by July, if not earlier. So yeah. And then obviously they have filed the name AEW Collision, so that could be what that show is called.
No, that's just them talking about Punk and the Elite.
That's the unreleased documentary, the AEW Collision. But yeah, so potentially we're going to see a third TV show by July. So it's a strange one, this, because we were massive fans of Rampage when it first came out.
Yep.
And then over time, it's degraded.
Yep. I didn't even have an issue with the length of time, because I was like, were they keeping it condensed to keeping it impactful?
Yeah. I think I even went on record as saying this is the best hour of professional wrestling, because they managed to fit in amazing matches, good promos, loads of good stuff happening in just an hour. And I was like, sign me up for this, because this is everything you want. Now, not so much.
Meandering.
And it's no offense to Dark. It's no offense to Dark Elevation, but it's essentially become like another one of those shows where it's something that happens, but you don't really have to tune into it because.
Again, I mean, I will defend Dark and Dark Elevation a little bit, where I think they kind of get discredited. Like, oh yeah, here on Dark, even they've even started a promo into that effect. Like, oh, you're relegated to Dark. It's like it's not a relegation. It's an alternative product. It's on the internet, so it does all right numbers as far as the internet goes. But it's a web based show.
I've no issue with the fact it's on YouTube or anything like that, but it's more like you don't have to watch it because it won't have any bearing on the actual main storylines.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the thing. That's the effect it has, is that they're catering to TV watchers, aren't they? So they don't really have anything significant happen on Dark.
If you think when Rampage first started, it was like the debut of Punk, and it was like loads of awesome stuff happening on Rampage.
It's hard to believe that was Rampage.
You got to tune in, but now it does feel like an afterthought. If you want to, keep up to date what's happening on AEW, it's Dynamite or Broke, really. So, but yeah, we are going to get a third show. Don't quite know how I feel about it yet. Have they even confirmed it's only an hour? Is it going to be another 2-hour one?
I don't know if it's confirmed or it was just a rumour, but we have discussed the fact that it was going to be a shorter show as well. Okay. I can't remember where that come from though. Because I'm a great journalist.
Well, exactly.
In fact, I'm not a journalist at all. So
that's probably why. Yeah, got all the skills. So yeah, we're going to see a new show potentially in July, and it could be called AEW Collision. The more you know.
Better than Collusion.
This is my favourite picture I made this week, by the way.
Take my money. So this is, I suppose, interesting to say the least. So obviously we all know about the Vince McMahon misconduct debacle, kerfuffle, shenanigans. I don't know. Obviously we all know the very serious allegations regarding Vince McMahon, and there's a very substantial payouts involved in this. Now, I don't fully understand the situation here, but essentially he used some WWE money to settle some of these things and has now had to pay $17.4 million back to the former shareholders, I want to say, because obviously he's made a lot of changes in the company as well, bringing himself back at the executive vice something, not executive chairman, something like that, right? So the board of directors has kind of changed anyway, but he's had to pay out a lot of people a lot of money. I say a lot of money. 17.4 million is probably not that much money to him, given that he's a billionaire. I don't know. But in any case, it's a big chunk of change. So they reached an agreement. He has paid WWE 17.4 million, and this is to reimburse the company for costs that have been incurred. So not specifically saying, okay, I used company money, you got me, but that's pretty much what's happened.
We skipped. My bad. Are you done with that?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, great.
You're obviously very keen to talk about Arianna Grace. So
I mean,
go on.
who isn't? And I just want to caveat this by saying we've had Santino on the show. We love the guy. Fantastic. And well done. That's all we're going to say. Because your daughter is now running for Miss Universe Canada, and rightfully so.
Can you beat... I'm not debating. Like she definitely should. Miss Universe right?
Canada. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's that loses me. Wouldn't you be Miss Canada? Like, isn't Miss Universe kind of like everything?
Yeah, I suppose.
Can you have more than one Miss Universe? How does this work?
Yeah,
my head went. She's going for Miss Canada, and then obviously, you get all the winners then go for Miss Universe. Surely.
So I think maybe they have Miss Universe America, Miss Universe Canada, Miss Universe Great Britain, whatever, and all the winners of that go up to the eventual Miss Universe contest, like for the whole.
Oh, universe. I just assumed it was the winner of Miss Canada who went to enter into the Miss Universe contest. So she wouldn't be Miss Universe Canada, would she? She'd be.
Well, no, but she wins the Miss Universe Canada bracket. And then goes into the
Carl go with tournaments bracket. Again.
No, we love our tournaments.
Okay.
But essentially, yeah, because obviously you can't. I mean, you could just have one massive show with everybody in it, but then that'd take quite a while. So I think that they basically try and geographically go, well, who's Miss America, who's Miss Canada, who's Miss Great Britain, who's Miss whatever, and then essentially all them winners go to the Miss Universe.
Okay, so. Apologies, because this is Carl trying to educate me on how things work tournament-wise. But I mean, obviously, this is no slight to Arianna Grace. She should definitely be Miss Universe.
And also, slight side note: I'm surprised they haven't done a Miss WWE Universe. That it exists. But yeah, no, honestly, fair play. She put on Twitter, excited to share that I'm going to be competing in this year's Miss Universe Canada. Thankful to my workplace for allowing me to do this while rehabbing my injury. Obviously, she's been out with an ACL injury for like a while now. She has come back to TV in a few brief appearances, but you know what? Fair play to WWE for allowing her to, she's got an opportunity to do it. And honestly, she's got our vote. So all the best to her. Hopefully she absolutely smashes it.
Can we vote?
I mean, I think you may have to be Canadian. Although, is that fair?
We know some Canadians though, so
yeah,
she can get those votes.
Yeah. There you go. Cool. We'll ask our Canadian friends to pass that vote. But yeah, all the best. And I don't know, she's just cool anyway. So
indeed,
I hope she gets the
ledge, just like her dad.
Indeed.
So Carl, WWE Hall of Fame. It's racking up to be an interesting one. So I believe you said there's a surprise one that I didn't know about.
Yes.
I was going to talk about Stacy Keibler.
Okay, that was the latest one announced before today.
Right, so we've had a new one today.
But the Warrior Award announced today, you see.
Okay, so let's briefly talk about what we got so far. We've got Rey Mysterio, we've got the Great Muta, we've got, why is his name escaping me? Andy Kaufman, thank you. And then we've got the fabulous Stacy Keibler. Now, she hasn't been seen in some time here. I don't know why I keep taking my glasses off like I'm punctuating something. She hasn't been seen in some time in the wrestling world. She's actually been very quiet on socials. I think she's only very recently joined socials.
Just came back. She came up on our feed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we follow Stacey Keibler. Oh look, there she is." And the next minute, bam, Hall of Fame.
And but that it makes a lot of sense because she went away. She had a family. She just totally cut out the social media stuff, the wrestling stuff, and has even said this is going to be sort of her husband's families, her kids and all that, her friends even. It's going to be their first sort of insight into that side of her life because she obviously met him after she left the wrestling biz. So apparently there's going to be a hell of a lot of people there to watch her get this honour, and absolutely more than deserving. She was not only integral to the women's side of WCW, but integral to that era of WWE's women's division, which again we always kind of count them as like not unsung. That's probably a little bit unfair, but they were killing it at a time. It was hard to sort of get the TV time and get over. Yeah. So like you've often alluded to the whole Molly Holly thing, like what you had to do to get onto WrestleMania. It's just not the same sort of battle, and they were like the initial stepping stones to what ended up being the women's evolution, Yeah. So I think it's credit where credit's due. She's an absolute legend and totally deserves it.
Absolutely. I think, at a time of invasion where a lot of the roster that came over just kind of went into obscurity, both Stacey and Tori just stood out and felt like they were in the right place and they felt like they belonged. And that they've always been a part of that roster.
And how well did she fit in with the Dudleys?
Yeah, amazing. To be fair, I mean, it's mad. I didn't watch that much WCW. But obviously, even I knew about Miss Hancock, who she came in, and I was like, okay, she's got some talent. But then obviously she came over, and I don't know, she showed a side of herself with the Dudley thing, and like aligning herself with like Test and all that.
Oh, do you remember testicles
and all that? Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. She just it was a really good fit. And I think a lot of people are kind of, as you say, they're kind of like scoffing at the idea of like, oh, why the fuck is Stacey Keibler in? It's like, well, why not?
Exactly.
Like, contribution wise, she definitely contributed a load of good moments.
Yeah. And let's be honest, because people might, the only argument I think people could close to legitimately make is about her in ring work. But I mean, in all due respect, Andy Kaufman's on here.
Well,
so it's about like contribution or recognition. It's not about how were they technically in the ring.
Yeah.
Like you say, a contribution overall to the industry. Yeah.
Agreed.
Totally deserving.
And the surprise entrant, Anthony, who just got announced today for the Warrior Award, was actually former referee Tim White.
Nice. So we actually did reference last week that the first time they're going to put a ref in.
We thought, it might be El Hebner, might be someone like that, but actually Tim White's got in for the Warrior Award, which if you look at the original meaning behind that award, it was meant to be people who've given great contributions to the business.
That's fantastic then, yeah. So makes a lot of sense. It's very fitting to put the first referee in there.
Yeah, well, like he's basically, obviously he was known, in his early days, he was known for being the handler of Andre the Giant, which, I mean, fucking like, who wants that job? So that's how he first came in, and then obviously he was, doing refereeing, he was doing, obviously, producing and stuff like that. He had those weird segments where he killed himself every week on SmackDown, remember them? How was Tim White going to kill himself today? Remember that?
No.
It's a crazy time, but definitely memorable. And he was always one of those refs as well that added something to it a little bit. So yeah, fair play to Tim White.
Indeed.
Obviously passed away as well not that long ago. So
do we know who's going to be accepting the award?
I don't think we do at this moment in time. So obviously, massive shame, but glad that he's been remembered and recognised for his contributions. Anyway.
Indeed.
So this next one to talk about is the Bray Wyatt situation continues to confuse and intrigue. Now, according to Ringside News, they have spoken with a tenured member of the creative team, and basically, according to that unnamed person, not even those within the WWE's creative circle are 100% sure what's going on with him at WrestleMania 39. Now, what we've since seen is Bobby Lashley has been added to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
A lot of people got rather pissed off about that. I think there's 4 people in there, and they're like, what the fuck are they doing in there? And it was like Gargano, Lashley, and 2 others who escaped.
LA Knight.
Well, LA Knight fits in there perfectly for me, but whatever.
Yeah, so's Gargano for me. But
and a lot of people got really pissy about it. I'm like, well, where else? It's very last minute, and where else do you want to put him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it annoys me now, for the Hall of Fame as well, it annoys me that these things are relegated to SmackDown. It's over 2 days now as well, and you're telling me you can't fit.
There's not room for the Andre Rumble.
So, yeah, it's a shame that they're not getting the time on Mania, because that's what they want to do at the end of the day.
And I don't know how you feel about this, but the fact that Bobby's gone into the Royal Rumble battle, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I feel like, well, it's obvious he's going to win it.
Well, he's gone in, but so's LA Knight. So a lot of people are thinking, are we going to get some kind of thing where it comes down to the final 2 and then they go into a match?
I know everyone's like, oh, LA Knight, he's a future megastar. This 40-odd-year-old man is going to be the future of the business. Yeah. But let's be honest, WWE have only been interested in using his abilities and having him lose. He hasn't really done a great deal. And I think they're just going to feed him to Bobby. I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. So
yeah, it's a strange one. You know, Bobby still tweeted, didn't he, saying after the whole stuff with Bray, saying he's going to have an opponent at Mania. So who's that going to be? Is it going to be Bray? Will Bray show up on SmackDown and do something to cost Bobby, and then the match still goes ahead?
But I hate that too. I hate that concept of like, well, we had enough room on Mania to spontaneously make this match that happened at SmackDown. That pisses me off too.
Yeah, Adam Pearce. It's all your fault. But yeah, it's interesting anyway, if you believe this report, that even those close to the situation don't appear to be 100% confident what's actually happening. There's been a number of things saying it's a health-related issue, personal issues, a lot of speculation, which is never fair. But whatever's going on with Bray, for him to kind of be there and just completely just drop off a cliff and not see him for weeks,
it's strange.
It's concerning. So whatever's going on, I hope obviously he's fine. Obviously he's right there, right behind Anthony's head. Obviously we met the guy, super nice guy,
cool guy,
lovely bloke. So whatever's going on, hopefully, I'd love for him to be on Mania. He's come back, and while we've not been, exactly enthralled by what he's done in this incarnation of Wyatt,
that's not to say. I mean, we've always said he's a super creative guy, and the right thing could have worked. I wasn't overly thrilled with putting him in a feud with LA Knight. No disrespect to LA Knight, but neither of them were going to come off good on that because people love them both. I don't know. Like, to me, it wasn't the wrong guy; it was the wrong story. And there's still plenty of time for all that. But as you say, hopefully everything's just all right, man.
Indeed.
So, Carl, there's an interesting one. Here's something I learned today. Not only does Steven Seagal have a daughter, which isn't surprising given his age, that he was actually had this daughter with Kelly LeBrock. Did you know that?
Kelly LeBrock.
Kelly LeBrock.
Don't even know who that is, so no.
Model of some sort, I think. Well, famous person, right? So
if you were to say Kelly Brook, I'd be all over that.
Yeah, but we're of that generation where you probably know Brooke before LeBrock, right? But not only that, she wants to be a wrestler.
That's interesting.
Did you know that?
I mean, Steven Seagal isn't he like a master sensei?
I believe. What does he know? Is it Aikido he knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, he also gets kind of like aggressively mocked by a lot of martial artists. So I don't know if it's like Hollywood martial art. No disrespect to it, I'm sure he could kick my ass. But so his daughter Arissa LeBrock, apparently she did have formerly a WWE tryout, so this has been an interest for a while and had to take a step back. But she recently received a call from Dustin Rhodes and is actually training at what's Dustin's school called?
Rhodes Academy?
The Rhodes Academy, yeah, let's go with that. Interestingly, we may see Steven Seagal's daughter in AEW.
That is fascinating.
You just never know.
Hopefully it doesn't end with
that's there.
Shattered dreams.
Look right. No,
that's a joke.
That over there.
Made a gold dust joke.
Sorry, go on.
Hopefully it doesn't end with shattered dreams. Thanks.
Cool.
Speaking of dreams being shattered potentially, and the hearts of millions around the world, apparently Logan Paul has said on his latest episode of the Impulsive podcast that his contract is due to expire after WrestleMania. Now, it was previously reported his contract was meant to be a multi-year deal. So this is fascinating. So does it mean he's tried it, he's ticked it off his list, and he doesn't want to continue with it, and so therefore he's being let off his contract early? Was it never a multi-year deal to begin with? What's going on? Because we've been very impressed with him.
Yeah.
And he's shown a natural gift and talent for the business. So to have, I mean, who's he fought? He had a match. He teamed with The Miz.
Yes.
And then did he face The Miz?
Yes.
And then he faced, wasn't Roman, was it Roman next?
Maybe.
And now Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Right? So
he's also been in the Rumble. Was it the Rumble?
Yeah. Yeah, been in the Rumble.
And he interrupted the chamber.
Yeah. So, to be fair, he's impressed every time we've seen him.
Yes.
So, it's a bit of a shame that it may be all over before it's begun.
I feel like he might be trolling us a little bit. Because if you look at his promo work, he's obviously being a heel, and he said to them all, like, he's not there because he needs the money or because he has to be. He's there because he wants to be. And I think this is him almost trying to play the heel on his podcast and suggesting, like, when I don't want to be there, I'm gone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there probably still is a multi-year thing going on. Purely theory.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it could be that just the first year of his contract is up. Maybe he signed the contract, only got revealed a bit late. Maybe he agreed it after WrestleMania last year. Maybe his first year is up of the contract. And it's maybe there was now an option for WWE to extend it or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe he's not aware yet of what's going to happen, but I don't know. I remember it was reported at the time he'd signed a multi-year deal. So
yeah, I mean, there's no denying he's a natural athlete, and other than the fact that, like, he did kind of hurt himself after the Roman thing. You know, hats off to him, because I know some people got super pissy over the selfie splash. I don't know if it has a name.
I thought it was good.
I liked it. I thought it was unique, and I know people got kind of annoyed over that. But it's like,
I was going to be such a dick then, by the way, when you're like, oh, he actually got hurt. I was going to be like, yeah, he so wasn't used to that from his boxing.
That's funny. I don't. It's slightly unrelated, but it took me. Have you seen the thing people are saying about? I'd love to credit people, but they never pay attention to what I'm reading. They were saying they referenced the Japan Forest thing and the green hat he was wearing, and they said, I really hope Seth comes out wearing this hat. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be such a Seth thing to do, actually. I would kind of hope that.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to mock him in some way, isn't he?
I mean, it's what he lives for, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is.
He'll wear something ridiculous, and if you can mock someone while doing it.
And sure, you know what? Can we give a moment to Seth, who's like, he's slowly moved into this legend status where he's just elevating people.
Well, yeah.
He put on a classic with Dom, of all people. You know what I mean?
Impossible to do. I was watching
classic was a bit of an exaggeration.
SCW Wrestling's live show yesterday, and this kind of came up. And while they were talking about this match, I did a little bit of a look up, and Rollins has lost his last 3 WrestleMania matches.
I think this is a win then, though.
Well, I mean, we find out in our predictions, but maybe. Surely it won't be 4 in a row. Surely it won't be to Logan, especially if his contract's going out.
I don't know. It depends what message they want for Logan, doesn't it? Because then if he can't beat Seth and he can't beat Roman, then he's only ever beat the Miz.
But I mean, he's been doing it a year, so he shouldn't be beating them.
But you go, well, I mean, yeah, but you know, Dominic Mysterio shouldn't be anywhere near WrestleMania. But here we are.
There we go. So yeah, fascinating. Will we see him after WrestleMania? Who knows?
I reckon so. So, Carl, here's an interesting one. And we haven't got details on who these interested parties are. But you may recall a while back that Vince McMahon expressed I don't want to say an interest or desire, but like a willingness to stay on. For, you know, anyone who buys the company is willing to stay on for a little bit. Show them the ropes.
Nice for me.
Show them how to handle the biz, you know. And it turns out that Steph here, discreetly in some senses, because a lot of people, they go straight to Vince, don't they, when they think of McMahon? But Steph has built up such a reputation in the business and in terms of like how well liked she is within, obviously, the backstage elements of it, how good she's been in terms of like their PR and their like their charity work and all that kind of stuff. That's the buyers who are interested, and again, we don't know specifically who we're talking about here, but the interested buyers have expressed a desire to perhaps have Stephanie McMahon stay on with the company.
Interesting.
Indeed. So I'm sure, Vince is going to not go with that buyer because he's a petty man. I kid, of course. But an interesting... so we may be able to see a WWE that's not owned by McMahon's, but Steph is still very much involved in the running of the business.
I think the whole situation with Steph going is still a bit dubious to me. Some people are just like, well, no, she said that was her intention anyway and had to come back in after the Vince stuff.
It kind of was, yeah. But
I don't know if that was ever really her intention. But interesting if
it got
people
a bit
do want it to be
because,
back.
like, Triple H stepped away, then Steph stepped away, then Steph come back, and then Triple H come back, and then Steph's like, well, I can step away again. So it's kind of like I kind of understand from a family perspective, they don't both want to be in charge at the same time because it's a big demand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, the position she was in the company, it seems like something went on there, doesn't it? And she's like left.
Yeah.
Not so much because she, is in the best interest. She just left because something's gone on.
Indeed.
But hey, she has, she's definitely got a mind for the business, hasn't she? So.
Well, yeah. And by all accounts, I think we said it last week, the sale is set to be pretty sharpish after Mania, if you believe what's out there. So
it's going to be what closes Mania out.
Would be the weirdest ending to WrestleMania of all.
Tony Khan just shuts out power walking for some reason.
Squares up to Cody and then just signs.
Say, you can't get away, bitch.
Imagine. So, yeah, another fun-filled episode of the Ringside Report. A little bit of a new look this week as well. Our bricks are brickier. Our table is tablier.
It is. It truly is.
We are drunker because we have been drinking Top Rope. What's the one this week?
One-Winged
Angel.
Delicious.
It is. It's kind of got a bit of a fruity, floral.
Yeah.
No.
I can't really place the flavour, but it's very pleasant. And like you say, very fruity. But I can't place the exact flavour and go,
citrusy, I would say. Citrusy.
Yeah, but it's very delicious. I don't guess at what they're referencing with the One-Winged Angel.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's video game related and also Omega related, something like that. So I'm not sure the original inspiration, but
so
we're wrestling fans.
For wrestling fans.
So,
however, it has been derived. And obviously, merchandise, you can find us on Pro Wrestling Tees.
You can.
With all of our latest designs over there as well. So, yeah, another fun-filled week. Make sure you check out our WrestleMania predictions. And we've got a fun little interview coming out this week as well.
Enjoy that one.
At the movies.
Kind of.
Well.
Behind the movies in a way.
Well, yeah. We need to get, should it have been a behind the...
behind the movies sounds a bit like you're up to no good.
Could have been behind the scenes. We just had a behind the seams.
That would have been good. Well, you've done it now.
Well, yeah, out there. It's at the movies.
We are at the movies because we watched the film relating to it.
We're not necessarily talking about the film, but we've got the person who wrote it to do that for us.
Yeah.
So check it out, and until next time, we will say bye.